Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to teach you how you can call the C++ functions from the Python script. And this technique is really useful. For example, if you are working in a big team or if you need the solution from the third person and he wrote everything in C++, but you need the results from his C++ functions inside your Python program. Uh, so by using this technique, you can simply call his C++ functions inside your Python program, and after that you can store the output from the functions inside your Python variable, and after that you can use that variable for further development inside your Python program. And another thing, if you are new on my channel, please don't forget to subscribe my channel, and also don't forget to press the bell icon to get the updates of the new uploads. Thank you so much. And now we will move over to today's tutorial. First of all, you need to open your terminal and you need to open your application where you can write code for your C++ program and Python program. As you can see, I have already created two files. One is C++ file and other is the Python file. First of all, we need to fill our C++ file. We will create some functions inside our C++ file, and after that we will call those functions inside our Python script. So we need to include some header here first. I am going to use the iostream library here. We are using this library actually to create some C++ variables and also to show the output from those variables. First of all, we will create a very simple function having no return type and also having no input arguments, and inside this function we will simply see out something, and I am going to see out my name and from C++, and in the end we need to end line here. That's it. This is the simplest function in C++. Next, we will create a more complex function here. We will call it function1, and inside this function, we will also pass one input argument here of integer type in num. And again, we need to copy this here from here and here. We will just simply output this number here. That's it. And next we will create another function. I will copy this here, and this function is function2, and for this time we will also return something from this function of type int, and again we are going to display this variable here num, and this time we need to return something of integer type from this function, and we will return our number itself and its multiplication with 2. Next thing, we will create another function and we will return again int from this function, and this time we will pass two arguments inside this function of integer type num and num2, and we will display these two arguments here separated by comma and num2. That's it. And this time we will return the multiplication of these two variables num into num2. That's it. Next we will create another function, and this time don't forget to change the name of the function here. It's function3 and it's function4, and this time we will create a function, and this time we will change the type of the input argument and we will call it string, and we have to change it here to name, and we will print here our name. And next we will create another function, change the name of the function here, function5, and this time we will return the string type from this function, and also we will pass the argument of string type here, name, and we will print this name, name, and in the end we will return our name from this function. That's it. We are done. Mm, we are done for the C++. Now the next thing, we are going to use the library ctypes from the Python, and actually this library is looking for the functions that are written in C format. So the next thing, we are going to call all of these functions in the C format. For this you need to type extern C here, and you need to call all of these functions inside our C format here. So for this you need to create a function, again function, and inside this function we will call our function1 here. That's it. Next we will create another function. It's function1 here, and this function having one argument here, integer num, and from this function we will return something. This function is not returning something, so we will simply call our second function here, which is function 2, which is actually function 1. So you need to type here function 1, and it's not returning something, but it has one input argument, so pass it here. Next we will create another function. I am going to simply copying it and paste it here, and this is our function 2, and in function 2 we are also returning the integer type, so we need to write int here and also return here. That's it. Next, this is function 2, and the next thing, we need to call our function 3, so change here function 3 and also change here function 3, and in function 3 we have also the return type of int, so type here int, and we are returning here int, and this function 3 has two input arguments, num and num2, and you need to pass here also num and num2. That's it. Next we will write our function 4, and our function 4 is of string type, and type function 4 here, and it's not returning something, but it is using strings, so we need to type here char pointer and name. Actually, std string is firstly introduced in C++. Actually, there is no std a type of thing in C, so we need to use char pointer here instead of string. So this is the technique here actually to call the strings from C. And the next thing is we need to also change here our function and also the variable here name, and this function is not returning something, so uh, that's it. And next we need to create our function 5 here, and we need to write here function 5, and this function also passing the string type, so again you need to type here char pointer and the name, and this function is also returning the string type, so again you need to type here char pointer, and you need to call here your function 5, and in this function is actually returning the string. We need to convert the string here into the char pointer. For this you need to call the str function here, str. That's it. And we need to store this function in some variable, so we will store it in a new char pointer p is equal to this function here, and next we will return this pointer here p. That's it. And we also need to change the name of the variable here to name. That's it. uh, that's it, we are done actually calling each function in C format. And after that we need to create a shared library of this C++ program, and for this you need to open your terminal and type here g++ and minus fpic and minus shared and minus o and name for your library, and I will call it simply funclib.dll. In Windows we are actually creating the DLL libraries, the dynamic libraries, but in Linux you need to create the .so libraries. And next we need to write the name of our script here, and that's it. So we have one error here, const char. Okay, we need to convert here it into const char. Actually this cstr is actually stored in const char, so this is it. Now we can again call this command here, and this time we are successful in creating DLL library here, which is here funclib.dll. Now next we need to call this library inside our Python script and use these functions from our C++ program. So go to your Python script here. So first of all, we need to import some important libraries, ctypes, which is used to call the C functions. And the next library we need is the operating system, OS, actually to get the path of our library. For this, you need to type path and os dot path and dot directory name, and inside this you need to pass os dot path dot real path and file. Actually, this will get the path from which where actually from where we are calling our Python script. It will get the path of the file here and store it in this variable, and after that we need to load our DLL library. For this you need to create the variable called handle, and to load our DLL library you need to type ctypes.cdll, and you need to give the path for our library and the name of our library, which is funclib.dll. And the next thing, we need to define the argument types for our functions. For example, for our first function, we have no input argument and also nothing, it is returned nothing. But for the function one, we have one input argument, which is of type integer, and it is returned nothing. So we need to define the argument type for our first function inside of Python script. For this, you need to call handle, and you need to call our function one and function one, and you need to define its argument type, input argument type, and we are its input argument type is of integer type, so you need to type cint, and you need to repeat it for all the functions. Copy and paste it here, one. And now from our function 2, we will see our function 2 is actually having one input argument of type integer, and it is also returning of type integer. So we need to define the input argument type and also its return type. For this, you need to paste it here and also write here function 2, and you need to change here the return type, which is the rest type, and it is also of integer type. And the syntax for this, you need to remove those brackets here, and you need to repeat the steps for all the functions here, for function 3, for function 4, and for function 5. So you need to change the name here, 3 3 and 4 4 and 5 5. And actually our function 3 having two input arguments and one output arguments of integer type, so you simply need to change here to again cint. It has two input arguments of integer type and one argument of one output argument of integer type. That's it. And our function for having input argument of char pointer, but it is not returning something. So go here and remove this line because it is not returning something, but its input argument type is the char pointer. So you need to type here c char p, which is the char pointer. And for function 5 it's same, but this function is also returning the char pointer, so you need to also define its return type here, and you need to type again here the char pointer. That's it. Next we will call our C++ functions here inside our Python script. So we will create again function here inside our Python script, which is the Python functions, and we are simply calling our functions from our C++ script. So first of all, we will call our the first function, which is name function, and we are calling this function from handle library. So that's it, and it have no input argument, so that's it. So copy this line here and paste it for all the functions, function 1 2 3 4 and 5, and change it here also 1 uh sorry 1, and here 2 2, and here 3 3, and here 4 4, and here 5 and 5. So the first function is having no input argument, but the second function having one input argument of integer type. So you need to pass it here also and here. And our second function is also having one input argument of integer type here and here. Our third function having two input arguments of integer type num and num2. So you can simply pass it here, those variables num and num2. Our function 4 having one input argument of char type, which you can call simply it name and paste it here also. And our function 5 is also having one argument of string type, so you can go here. So this is how you can call your C++ function inside your Python function. Next we will test each of these functions inside our next Python script, which is called test.py. So for this, we need to import this script.py inside this test.py. For this, you need to type from script. We need to import everything. That's it. First of all, we will check our function one. So we will simply need to type call our function. And the next thing, we will call our second function, which is function one. And this function is using one input argument. You can simply pass two. Next, we will call our function two. And this function is also having one input argument of integer type. You can simply pass 3, but this function is also returning something. So you can simply store the output from this function inside your Python variable. You can call it num1, and that's it. You have to also, now we will test our function 3. It's func it's fun func3. And inside this function, uh, you need to write here function. I wrote it wrong here. Function. That's it. Next, you need to also change it here. Function and function here. And inside of function 3, we are also passing two integer numbers. We will pass 3 and 4, and this function is also returning something of integer type. You can simply copy and paste it here. The next is our function 4, so you need to call our function 4, and this function is actually taking something of integer type. So for passing the char pointer, you need to actually create the byte. For this, you need to type the byte and your string. You can simply pass here Tommy gun, anything you want to pass as a string, and we will call our function 5. And this function is also need the input argument of char pointer type. So again, you need to send the bytes, and this time you will send Tommy gunner here. That's it. And this function is also returning something of string type. So you can simply paste it here, store it inside your Python variable. Next, we will print all of these variables here. First variable is num1. We will also print something here Python to make sure that we are doing everything right here. You need to copy this and paste it again here, and this is our num2 and this is our name. If everything is fine, we will call this script and see it will call all of our functions one by one. So you need to type Python and the name of your script, which is test.py, and press enter. And as you can see, the output from all of our functions. And this is our first function, sort from C++. This is this. And next we call our second function, which is function 1, and it will print sort from C++ and our number here, and we will pass the number here too. So it will print sort from C++ and 2. And similarly, the function 2 is printing the number here 3. And what it is returning, the function 2 is returning our number 3 multiplied by 2, which is 6. So we will see here 6 in num1, and you can see here Python 6. And our fourth function is actually taking two arguments 3 and 4, and it returns the multiplication of these two numbers, which is stored in num2, and you can simply see here Python num2, which is 12. And similarly, we call our function 4, which is taking the input argument of Tommy gun. So it will call this function from our C++ program, and our function 5 is starts from C++, and we again pass the input argument Tommy gunner, and this function 5 is actually returning the string type, and it is returning the same integer we are passing here, which is Tommy gunner. So in Python it will store here Tommy gunner, and it will return again here Tommy gunner, and it is of byte type. If you want to change it to completely string, you need to paste here decode name dot decode. That's it. And you can again run your Python file and see the b is removed from here byte type. No, it is of string type here. That's it. So this is for our today's tutorial. Next we will see how we can call the C++ classes from our Python script. So see you next time. Bye bye.